Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle. Thank you, as always, for joining us. All right, with today's executive order, Donald Trump has officially cemented his place in history as the most pro-female president ever.
The war on women's sports is over.
As trans lunatics are frenzied in defeat, we're going to talk to one of the winners in this battle. And as for Trump's bombshell Gaza proposal,
the president is willing to think outside the box, look for new and unique, dynamic ways to solve problems that have felt like they're intractable.
Middle East leaders say they were caught off guard, but Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he's here to tell us more. And what really has liberals fuming? That their taxpayer-supported slush funds are being zeroed out.
We will not shut up. We will stand up. We will speak up. We will rise up.
But have Dems found their resistance legs? And that brings us to Trump waste removal services. That's the focus of tonight's angle. You ever seen what happens when addicts can't find their fix? Well, it's pretty ugly. They'll do and say almost anything to get their drugs.
Listen, I need you to help me out, all right? I need you to give me some money, okay? I need you to give me like $5, like $20, something like that, because I'm in some trouble.
Well, official Washington has been addicted to spending for decades. And look, they use our money for their own pleasure trips, and they expect no consequences. Typical addicts, no accountability. And when their supply is threatened, they rant, rave, and babble.
Foreign aid isn't popular with the public. They don't know how much we spend on it. Well, I say to that is where we have to make a stand, because without that, we have no country.
We have no country without what exactly? Without the types of projects that USAID funds? They're totally unrelated to this president's priorities?
USAID awarded $2 million to strengthen trans-led organizations to deliver gender-affirming health care in Guatemala. USAID awarded $1.5 million for providing a gender-sensitive response to migration at the Venezuelan border. USAID awarded $4.3 million on October 1st, 2023 to a group to fund comprehensive health services for men having sex with other men in South Africa.
Yeah, these folks are junkies, not Nancy Mace. The people want to spend the money. Because without taxpayer money to waste, they turn into these complete sputtering fools. They can't heal their own party, but they claim to be able to heal the world?
The Republicans, they are losing when they attack our healers. Our healers have been stranded all over the globe. USAID has kept the peace in the globe. We are not colonizers. We are supposed to be a democracy. We honestly must ask this party to reevaluate its own relationship with God.
Her party, which fights for partial birth abortion and trans surgeries for minors, is going to accuse others of being godless for not blowing billions on climate and gender boondoggles? Nice try. The definition of incoherent, a political movement that obsessed on this.
We have to calm the rhetoric down. We have to make sure that we treat each other with respect and condemn the violence whenever it occurs.
He has increased his violent rhetoric, Donald Trump has, about political opponents.
But now the party's sounding like this.
Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Trump. You and your little friend off of Twitter, y'all about to find out.
We are here to fight back.
We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass.
We have to fight this in the courts. We have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets.
Shut down the Senate. We are at war.
For decades, many of us have complained about the do-nothing Republicans, that every election season they promise to starve the beast, they bemoan the rise of the bureaucratic state, they pledge to bring transparency to Washington. Wouldn't that be great? But year after year, government spending only increased. Whack job programs kept getting funded, and the slush machine kept turning. But Trump 47 is changing all that. Having learned some pretty tough lessons from his first term, President Trump knows he has no time to waste if he really wants to slash government waste. And he knew this would require unconventional thinking from someone who, like himself, is used to defying the critics. Elon Musk's blitz through the federal government and its spending has put official Washington and its toadies on defense. They're scrambling now for an effective response. NBC is warning that Elon Musk and Doge are hacking the government with lightning speed, no less. Only D.C., by the way, would actually say that an effort to save taxpayer money, where staff are working 120 hours a week, that's somehow called hacking to them. Now, this piece unwittingly is hilarious because we're supposed to be frantic because his team of really smart people is there poring over office building leases, spending contracts, and employee performance with the stated intention of radical downsizing. You mean in all his free time between managing SpaceX and Tesla, Elon Musk is doing what President Trump committed to doing on the campaign trail? He called it the Department of Government Efficiency for a reason.
Although it is a humorous name, ironically, I think Doge will have a very serious, very serious and significant impact on government waste and fraud and abuse, which is really astonishing.
Hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe as much as $1 trillion, down a rat hole in D.C. every year. And now the Doge team is considering the elimination of entire departments and agencies that are not going to have any negative impact on the average American. Now, earlier this week, we exposed the corruptocrats at USAID. But again, that's just the tip of the bureaucracy. But will Trump really do what President Reagan once floated doing? Will he shutter the failed Department of Education? Sure sounds like it.
We're ranked #1 in cost per pupil. So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. And we're ranked at the bottom of the list. We're ranked very badly. And what I want to do is let the states run schools.
This is making those who benefit ideologically or financially from a perpetually unaccountable bureaucracy very agitated, even very belligerent they're becoming. Musk is their new public enemy #1.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed. Which, you know, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV. Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework.
Anyways. Now, imagine being AOC and trying to convince voters that she's smarter than Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Now, nevertheless, the squad is fanning out, trying to stretch its clipped wings. Note what happens when these brainiacs are asked simple questions.
There are Americans who want the money that America spends abroad to be spent at home instead. Can you explain to those people why you think they should be interested in helping families like yours?
I think what is really important for the American people to understand is that this money really amounts to less than 1% of what our budget is as a country. It is money that goes to the most vulnerable around the world.
How arrogant can she be? Oh, it's just tens of billions of dollars. No biggie. No wonder America is in such massive debt. Now, New York senior senator was no more convincing.
Doge is operating in many ways like a shadow government. The American people will not stand for an unelected, secret group to run rampant through the executive branch. Being innovative is good. But, Mr. Musk, this isn't a tech startup. These are public institutions.
Now, we're supposed to believe that Chuck Schumer is now against unelected power. That's precisely what the bureaucratic state is. It's what Musk wants to put an end to. Yeah, all those independent agencies that run around like the people elected them, OPM, CFPB, the USAID, operate without any oversight and waste money that Congress never specifically authorized. But while Doge combs through this tangle of overspending, and thank the good Lord they're doing it, they do need to remember that if these Democrats ever win back the House, they will start subpoenaing everyone. They even tried that today on the Hill.
Who is this unelected billionaire that he can attempt to dismantle federal agencies, fire people, transfer them, offer them early retirement, and have sweeping changes to agencies without any congressional review, given his prominence and his importance? I move that the committee subpoena Elon Musk to come before it as a witness at the earliest possible moment.
Democrats are itching to get back into power. Why? To serve you? No, they want to launch more investigations. Yeah, re-weaponize the government. And they'll do it. They will try to bankrupt all of the Doge staffers. They probably couldn't do it to Musk. But look, if they could put him in jail, I have no doubt they would. But we must not let that happen. Now, moving toward the midterms, and they're right around the corner, believe it or not, the overriding question for voters must end up being, who governs the country? The bureaucrats or the people? Trump, Vance, and the Doge team believe that you should govern the country through your elected leaders. And right now, they're busy replacing a legacy of public cynicism and distrust of government with a new era of transparency and common sense. It's about time. And that's the angle.
It's only been 3 weeks, and Democrats want to impeach. Today, Democrat Al Green, not the soul singer, announced he's introducing articles of impeachment against Donald J. Trump because he said he wants to turn the Gaza Strip into Gaza-Lago. Democrats were already losing their minds after Musk froze their foreign aid slush fund.
We will not shut up. We will stand up. We will speak up. We will rise up. What's dangerous is that people who work for USAID are wearing masks to protect themselves from Musk. This is a dictatorship in the making. We're not going to have apartheid in America anymore. Elon Musk has not been elected to anything.
And who the hell does Musk think he is? He has absolutely no right in shutting down USAID. We cannot allow that. We've got to take to the streets.
First and foremost, Elon Musk.
Elon's the first government employee Democrats have ever won a fire. And he's not even taking a salary. We're $36 trillion in debt, and a few pennies got doged, and the Democrats are grabbing bullhorns like Bush after 9/11. Trump and Elon are doing what you do on the first day of prison. You find the baddest guy in the cell block, and you clock him in the face. Doge froze a $40 billion deep state super PAC and put 10,000 bureaucrats on paid leave. And it happened so fast, one worker had to be rehired to process people's final timesheets. All the expensive artwork hanging in the agency headquarters has been taken down and sold at auction. The website's down, and there's no more Bert and Ernie in Baghdad.
I would just say a strong message to Democrats who are out there pretending to be outraged about the long list of crap that this administration is cutting, federal waste and funding, like $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, $20 million on a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. I could go on, and I'm happy to provide this list to every single one of you. Democrats are outraged that the American people want to be, they want their taxpayers going to good uses, not stuff like this.
Well, we can add some more to the list. $43 million on a gas station in Afghanistan that had no customers. Still less, though, than what Biden paid for a charging station here. $1.5 million to promote gays, lesbians, and trans in Jamaica. Jamaican me crazy. $4 million for trans Serbians. $5.5 million for gay rights in Uganda. Over 6 million for men who have sex with men in South Africa. That's just how it was described. 17 million to promote inclusion in Vietnam. It's just probably another way of saying it went to trans. We carpet bombed them and then we paid them to cross-dress. 25 million to promote green transportation in Georgia, not the state, the country. And it's not like we took the money and bought them electric cars. We just paid a shady agency to put up a billboard that says, buy electric cars. $1 million for Arab and Jewish photographers. Are you Jewish? Are you Arab? Do you have cameras? Here's a check. $8 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid binary gendered language. Translation, we spent $8 million so that a reporter in Sri Lanka doesn't write he or she. Well, at least nobody died, right? Wrong. $122 million of the USAID money was given to terrorists. The Taliban is taxpayer funded. So was the Wuhan lab, so we're on a roll. The people spending the money can't even tell you why they're spending the money.
USAID awarded $2 million to strengthen trans-led organizations to deliver gender-affirming health care in Guatemala. So to each of you this morning, does this advance the interests of American citizens paying for trannies in Guatemala to the tune of $2 million? Yes or no? Governor?
I have no position.
Of course you don't.
$2 million for sex changes in Guatemala? Despite the blatant waste and corruption, there's a sinister side to all of the gay, lesbian, and trans money we're funneling into other countries. It's subversive. It undermines their traditional culture, their religions, and their governing authority. It divides these countries, it distracts them, and makes it easier for our government to exploit them. David Axelrod told Democrats who are defending this stuff, you're walking into a trap. Rahm Emanuel says you don't have to fight every fight. Wasteful spending isn't the hill I'm going to die on. But trans operas in Colombia are the hill Democrats have chosen to die on. Are they getting kickbacks? We're about to find out. Democrats warn Trump's unelected shadow government is dismantling their unelected shadow government. That's how the Babylon Bee puts it. Democrats have been sending your tax dollars to the World Economic Forum so they can tell us to eat bugs. The George Soros Prosecutor Fund got $26 million of your money to what, open jails? USAID brags about overthrowing governments. They bragged about supporting military coups and color revolutions in the Middle East, Asia, and Ukraine. And we just found out the Biden administration was paying the press. During the last 4 years, Politico received $26 million from the federal government. $8 million just last year. The Biden administration was paying a D.C. insider publication that happened to never report anything bad about the Biden administration. Well, what did they pay for besides good press? The government says it was for subscriptions to Politico Pro. Well, what's Politico Pro? It's supposed to give you inside scoops or exclusive reporting about the federal government. It's been around since 2010, but all of a sudden in 2021, the Biden administration starts buying hundreds of Politico Pro subscriptions. And a subscription runs anywhere from $10,000 to $75,000 a year. Those are like top-tier country club dues. For $75,000, this exclusive reporting must be pretty good, right? Now, no one ever read in Politico Pro that Biden was brain dead. Now, if I'm going to pay $75,000 for journalism, I want to know whose coke was in the White House. Politico Pro isn't even for people in government. It's for lobbyists. You pay $75,000 a year for the name and email address of a regulator at the FDA. So you can email them, wine them, and dine them at Cafe Milano, and then grease the regs for Pfizer or Kraft or whoever your client is. You find out when the farm bill's about to pass, so you can send your lobbyists into the back room and write the bill. It's not for people in the government. What do people at the Department of Energy need to pay $75,000 for to find out what's going on in the Department of Energy? Mayorkas needs to know what's going on with the border bill. All he has to do is call Chuck Schumer. The phone call's free. This doesn't make any sense. The whole thing is a racket. This was a bailout. Biden's government didn't need this. It's a payoff product. Because when they started paying at Politico, they tanked the laptop. They covered up Biden's nap times. The USAID chief, Samantha Power, Politico wrote a puff piece about her, called her a celebrity. Have you ever heard of celebrity Samantha Power? Politico didn't get paid to do journalism. They got paid to stop doing journalism. No, I read Politico. I read it every day. I like it. It's got good reporting in there. But I'm not funneling $26 million of taxpayer money over there in exchange for good coverage. I'm sure a few people at the federal government have Wall Street Journal subscriptions for $59 a year, not $75,000. And if you're trying to save a few dollars, share your password and logins with your staff. You don't get them all $75,000 a year subscriptions. Primetime reached out to Politico, and we didn't hear back. The White House says the government paying journalists, that's getting doged.
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now.
How critical is government funding to Politico's bottom line? Not sure. But on the day of the freeze, they couldn't make payroll for a couple hours. It's not just Politico. The New York Times got millions. BBC got money. PolitiFact was funded by the Biden administration. Biden was censoring you and funding independent fact checkers to call you a liar. Kamala took your money and paid Sharpton. Biden took your money, gave it to Politico, gave it to donors to build solar panels. The left somehow looks like one big astroturfed money laundering shell game. Remember, the CIA has a history of planning scoops with journalists.
Disseminate propaganda to influence people's minds. And this is a major function of the CIA. You have contact with a journalist, you will give him true stories, you'll get information from him, you'll also give him false stories. You also work on their human vulnerabilities to recruit them in a classic sense, to make them your agent so that you can control what they do. 400 journalists cooperating with the CIA, including some of the biggest names in the business, to consciously introduce the stories into the press.
Journalists were on CIA payrolls.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
So if intelligence agencies, which is kind of what the USAID is financing the American media, that's state-run media. And if Kamala would have won the election, the money would have kept flowing. Politico must have known that. They wrote puff pieces about how fantastic she was. I wonder if that was connected. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Trump got elected and caught him. We're only in week 3. Who else is getting paid?
But first, let's check in on the Democratic Party, shall we? Which has now moved. First, they were in the denial stage after the election. They couldn't believe they lost. Then they were in the grief and depression stage. Now they have officially entered the rage and anger stage, which is where they usually are with President Trump. Not much of a change, which, by the way, I'm perfectly fine with if that's where they want to be. And I hate to break it to our friends in the radical, new, left-wing, socialized Democratic Party, but they're screaming into a void at this point. Same with their allies and co-workers in the state-run legacy media mob. They lost the election. Their approval numbers are nearing record lows, and yet they continue to fight 2 losing battles. The first one is over illegal immigration. Outside of a tiny group of Democrats, almost everyone in America wants Donald Trump to deport illegal immigrants, those that are murderers, rapists, gang members, cartel members, known terrorists in our country. They're the only ones fighting, oh, it's not a big deal, really? Yes, it is a big deal. And I love it. They should stay on this. The biggest losing battle of all time in D.C., and it surrounds the government accountability. In fact, Democrats are outraged. We are in a constitutional crisis that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are exposing what is their massive amounts of billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse that are given to other countries to spread their ideology. You know, how dare Donald Trump and Elon Musk tell the American people the truth and be transparent? The Democratic Party is now apparently willing to fight tooth and nail against government oversight. Wow, take a look.
Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. We are here to fight back. Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and they be given access, full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States of America, we are at war.
I am going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win. 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 We won't rest. We won't rest.
No, you lost, but who's counting? Despite the theatrics, Elon Musk, Doge are doing incredible work for the Trump administration and frankly, for the American people. I mean, they're robbing from our kids and grandkids to advance their extreme agenda. It's insane. They utterly exposed USA, you know, which long served. This was their slush fund for the far left actors out of Washington to give to their, you know, friends around the globe, spending your billions and billions of hard-earned tax dollars on the woke causes, the Green New Deal causes, the, you know, the transgender ideology, DEI, and all of that. Doge is expanding to other parts now of the federal government, including the Transportation Department. The status quo in D.C., it is over. Shock and awe has arrived. Democrats, they are sadly stuck in the past and don't expect them to change over the next 4 years. Didn't take long. Did not take long. I was ready to start a Hannity.com pool. Who will be the first Democratic elected official? Who's going to be the first legacy media mob person, you know, to call for this? 16 days in. I didn't think it would be that quick. Democratic Congressman Al Green filing another round of impeachment articles against Donald Trump for his dastardly deeds. Take a look.
Dr. King was right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And injustice in Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States of America. I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done.
All right, the anger, the fear-mongering doesn't stop there. Now Democrats, the media mob, are once again outraged over Trump's bold new plan for Gaza. Take a look.
The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too.
Now, like Trump's tariff threats and tough negotiations with Panama, Venezuela, Denmark, Mexico, Canada, this is likely just the first chapter in a complex, ongoing art of the deal negotiation. But once again, for the millionth time, the Democratic Party is just overcome with hysteria. You decide.
I think it's the craziest idea I've ever heard in my life. 2 million people living in Gaza, a problem that Israel has, and now we're going to have. We want to own Gaza.
You've got something like 2 million Gazans there. More than half of them do not support Hamas right now. But the moment you tell them that you've got to leave because of a U.S. plan backed by Israel, every single one will join Hamas and fight.
We have known that this is Trump's plan for the Gaza Strip. It is horrific. It is the definition of ethnic cleansing. It is part of the culmination of
of what I view to be genocide of the Palestinian people.
It's delusional. It's also dangerous, and it is disgustingly insensitive to Palestinian humanity.
Clearly, there is now, it's an official foreign policy of the United States, the illegal occupation of a sovereign land, ethnic cleansing, which constitute on both counts, crimes against humanity.
Ethnic cleansing, when you promise that you're going to help, clear out the rubble from the war-torn region and put people in nice homes, that's ethnic cleansing? See the same cycle over and over and over again. Wash, rinse, repeat. The American people no longer care about the constant hysteria. They trust President Trump to improve our country, fix what's broken, drain the swamp, and protect American lives from threats, both foreign and domestic. Unlike the last administration, Trump knows how to work with our friends, hold our enemies in check. Take a look.
Why say that you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did.
I know. It's hard to believe you're in the same room with me. Happy Wednesday, everyone. President Trump has given orders to obliterate Iran if the regime assassinates him. Big deal. I get obliterated every night, said one woman. President Trump also suggested taking over Gaza. His first project, opening a gentleman's club called the Gaza Strip. Why not? Democrats have already filed new impeachment articles against Trump over his proposed plan in Gaza. Well, there goes their free lap dances at the Gaza Strip. President Trump's proposed budget bill will feature roughly $1 trillion worth of spending cuts. But this is nice. He's leaving in a few extra bucks to buy some clothes for Kanye's wife. Please don't. The U.S. Navy has unveiled a photo of a warship firing a high-powered laser weapon. Its first target, removing Rashida Tlaib's mustache. In Iran, a naked woman jumped on a police car to protest the country's treatment of women. In a related story, guess who just moved to Iran? Jump on me. Walmart has announced plans to cut hundreds of jobs. If you do the math, this will be the second time in a year Jim Acosta is out of work. Randy Weingarten, the teachers union boss who makes over $500,000 a year, is worried Trump will cut her salary, forcing her to return to her old line of work. I don't know if that's a real photo. Trump is publicly considering exporting American criminals to foreign jails. It sounds cruel, but it's part of a bigger effort to keep Hillary Clinton from murdering them. And according to a new study, apes may be able to read minds just like humans. Even more impressive, some apes are actually able to host a nightly cable news show. Yeah. All right. Since returning to office, President Trump's been signing executive orders faster than Larry Kudlow signing boobs at the Villages. Trump is like that U.S. Army slogan from the 80s, "We do more before 9 a.m. than you do all day." Only with him, he sets the alarm even earlier. And he set his sights on the Middle East. I wonder, will the U.S. take over the Gaza Strip and do a good job with it, too?
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site, and get rid of the destroyed buildings, do a real job do something different. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
The Riviera of the Middle East, huh? Ooh. I only hope the Cabana Boys get new pagers. But maybe to Trump, Gaza is a construction project. And he thought, hey, if I can deal with the mafia and NYC, I can handle Hamas. They both kill people and demand money. But also during that same press conference on Gaza, he dropped this instant classic.
Do you have any plan to change Afghanistan situation? Are you able to recognize Taliban? Because I'm an Afghan journalist, Afghan suffered woman. Any comment about Afghanistan? What's your future plan for Afghan people, especially Afghanistan?
I have a little hard time understanding you. Where are you from? Oh. Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying.
That's why he's the guy. That's not really Trump's fault. Her accent was thicker than AOC's skull. But if the Gaza plan sounds crazy, that's the point. It's what you call a dad move. You know, you're in a huge fight with your sister over the remote. Dad comes down and takes the remote away. Suddenly, you and sis have a common enemy, Dad, which forces the brats to come up with a creative alternative like sharing the remote. In this case, the brats are Egypt and Jordan. They're the siblings, and now they're going to have to share the burden, or Dad's going to make life hell. And if you want hell, listen to what Trump has instructed America to do if Iran took him out.
If they did that, they would be obliterated. That'd be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left.
Not a bad plan. You know, I also left instructions in case I'm assassinated. That my ashes are to be spread on top of Kilmeade's lunch. Look, the point is, Trump doesn't just think outside the box. He leaves the box on the curb for Don Lemon to sleep in. And because everything follows a simple principle. America first, no bluffs given. It all makes sense, and there's less wiggle room than Joy Behar's Spanx. Compare that to the old administration, an activist wish list far removed from Americans' real concerns. Trans issues, sanctuary cities, social justice movements, accidental bowel movements. It all translated to America last. So now Trump's crushing it. On Tuesday, the CIA offered buyouts to its entire workforce, which he'd just done to millions of federal workers. The upside, their disguise skills will come in handy if you don't want people to know you work for Uber. Trump also signed an executive order defunding the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Next time they want to house hostages, try Motel 6. Yeah. And he's also withdrawing the U.S. from the UN Human Rights Council. Who's on that council? Well, Burundi, China, Somalia, Sudan. Having those countries on a council on human rights is like having J.B. Pritzker on the board at Weight Watchers. Yeah. Trump also signed another order banning men from women's sports. And some of the trans women athletes, they're not taking the news very well.
You better do it! University man, university man now!
His next executive action might be to get rid of the Department of Education, shutting down functions that aren't written explicitly into statutes, meaning if it's not in the law, it's not legal. No wonder the Democrats are panicking like Jerry Nadler just used their only bathroom. Since the Education Department's inception, reading and math scores have been dropping faster than Bill Cosby's dates after their first cocktail. I know, isn't he awful? We all agree, I'm glad. The bottom line, in the old days, our solemn, stately, and benign Republicans, they stayed well-behaved as the left ran rampant. Oh, they would have been shocked by just one win, but typically, they were always just gracious in defeat. John Boehner would have cried, and Paul Ryan would have gone back to his one-man show about Eddie Munster. But Trump is different. He's not just a Republican president, he's a legend, meaning wherever he goes, the world sits up. Oh, here he comes, they mutter. World leaders scramble for selfies. Politicians come to kiss his ring. And no wonder he's a cross between Godzilla and the Energizer Bunny. And when you're a legend, the story around you does almost all the work for you, especially when the story has a happy ending, as long as you do what Daddy says. Tonight's guest. He's like Elmer's glue. He holds things together and he's white. Fox News contributor Tom Shalhoub. She reports the news in gin-soaked shoes. Fox News anchor Julie Bandera. He thinks laundromats are a great place to expand his wardrobe. Founder of StudioTSC.com, Michael Loftus. And she's still a distraction despite her contractions. New York Times bestselling author, Fox News contributor Kat Tim. Tom, what do you make of this whole Gaza thing? It's like, we're not putting troops on the ground, but he seems to have just hijacked the conversation, made people think past the sale that he's actually in charge, and that somebody better do something, or I'm going to just build something.
That's what it is. And when he announced it at the press conference, I almost thought he was just making it up on the spot. And then they went over to Bibi Netanyahu, and I thought he was going to be like, what are you talking about? But he was like, I think it's a great idea. It's unbelievable. But I love that, the reporter, the Afghan reporter, and after he said, I didn't understand a word you said. I love the way he wrapped it up. Instead of saying, could you repeat the question? He said, good luck, live in peace. That's the best answer. Just move on,
Yeah.
I don't even know I cannot keep up with this presidency. I mean, it's only a couple of weeks in. I feel like it's, that movie, the Keanu Reeves movie where he's driving the bus and he can't stop driving it?
Speed.
Yes.
Love it.
That's what the presidency is. And the Democrats are the villain. And they're like, if you stop the bus, everyone will die. And Trump's like, that's fine. Just plowing through everything. They don't know what to do. The article you sent me today, the New York Times article, they're all freaking out. It's written by Maggie Haberman and everybody else. They have so many people on the masthead. And it said that, empowered by Mr. Trump, Mr. Musk is waging a largely unchecked war against the federal bureaucracy. And I'm like, that's the bad part?
Yeah.
It's like they don't know what to do.
I just can't believe that you couldn't remember the name of the movie Speed.
Yeah, that movie.
That's like saying, what's that Scorsese movie about wise guys? Oh, you mean Goodfellas? No, it's about the wise guy.
De Niro's in it.
De Niro, what's that movie about Rocky Balboa? What's it called? You're a screwed up guy. Julie, Tom makes a really good point that, we can't keep up with him, but maybe that's how gets done these days. Do you find it arousing?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm so turned on right now. But you ended your monologue with a happy ending, and then you had my mind going spinning in circles. No, I think he's doing a lot of great things, and I think he's living up to all his promises, which I don't remember the last time that we had a president ever, actually.
Yeah.
Not even in his first term, move this quickly in a matter of 2 weeks. I just want to talk about women and women's sports, transgender women not being allowed, or men, biological male, whatever you want to call that group, to not have to compete in women's sports. I think that's excellent. And that is something that this country really needed. I mean, it's been so unfair. I'm a little bummed about it because I personally was looking forward to trying out for the women's team breakdancing for the next Olympics.
Oh.
But now I'm not going to qualify because, as you know,
yes,
Adam's apple. Have you noticed it?
Yes. I was not aware.
No.
I was not aware. All right, Loftus, are you upset that you're now banned from competing in women's sports?
I got to come up with a plan B.
Yes.
Then I was going to do the breakdancing thing, but now that's off the table. I am loving every single moment of this presidency. It's like Christmas every day.
Yes.
It's like all we asked Santa for.
Even for Jews.
Right? It's like all we asked for was a wall.
Yeah.
Right? And Trump keeps going, no, check under the tree. I think there's one more under there. The Gulf of America? How did you know? Check under the tree. There's one more under. The Gaza Strip! Oh my God! It's a great idea. It's going to be awesome, but we got to rename it, right? Something confusing like Mississippi North. Just so no one really understands where we're going. But you'll have to throw a stan on the end of it, like Mississippi Northistan, so we can embrace the local culture.
What about you add M-A to Gaza?
Okay.
Magaza.
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 Magaza stan.
Magaza stan.
You get... Now, if you've got like a homeless problem in LA or Mississippi or Alabama, boop, lift them up, drop them off there. They can open up a Love's truck stop. They can work at the Gaza Strip. We'll have that place rocking and rolling by midnight, baby.
See, Kat, it's like he's opened this conversation up into a whole new world. I don't think it's going to lead to us moving and occupying there. But I feel like he forced everybody's hand.
I don't think it will either, although I'm sure he misses building things, and his nation building would probably be prettier than George W.'s. But I mean, I'm very much a huge non-interventionist, right? I don't want American tax dollars spent on this stuff. I don't want boots on the ground. I also lived through 4 years of Trump before. Yeah. And I think that what I used to do, I think he just throws stuff out there sometimes. And I think what I maybe did more than once in the last Trump term is I would then react based on that thing. And a lot of times you let time go on. You're like, oh, this isn't going to happen, or was this for some other reason? Because now he's saying he also doesn't want boots on the ground. He also doesn't want American tax dollars spent over there. Now, how it works without those two things, I don't think it does. But he did start this conversation.
It reminds me of the North Korea thing, where the thing we were trying to solve was their desire to drop a missile on us. And so he says, we could build something here, and that didn't happen. But what did happen is he removed the threat from the table.
That's what he always goes to. He's like, we'll build it. We'll build it out here.
But he did get the threat removed from the table. And that was like the first thing he did, and people forget about that. But I won't forget it, ever.